And we are live. What is going on, everybody out there? We have the very awesome guest going on. We have Esjay from We Are Pigs. What's going on, Esjay?
What's up? How you guys doing? I'm feeling very, very patriotic in this setup.
Yeah. America. Right on.
America, fuck
yeah. Right on. And we have the amazing Morgan. What is going on? Woo! It is such a pleasure. I can't tell you, I am a kid of the 90s. I grew up listening to metal. You know, I'm a little older, so I grew up in the 80s too. But holy freaking guacamole, we have one of the biggest bands that rocked the stage from Canada out here rocking with us.
Yeah. Canada! Fuck
yeah! Right on. Thanks for... How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Yeah. No complaints here. I feel good. Just hanging out in my music area. How are you?
Very cool.
Oh yeah.
We're doing good.
How are you doing? Kick ass. Yeah, thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining. This is a pleasure. Again, who would have known that this coolness would have happened, that me and James just kind of said, hey, let's kind of do some music guests. And we get some amazing folks. I mean, Esjay, I've been listening to We Are Pigs all freaking week long. And
Loving the videos.
I'm not being rude. I'm just actually posting that we are live now.
Whoa, look at that. It's like
on.
Inception.
Right? Inception. Hold on. Let me get a swipe up. Let's get people to jump on.
Get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for listening. It's a fun project. It's been kind of like I mean, it's been super cool to make music with my heroes, first of all. Like,
right. Just watching, just seeing like the lineup you people you worked with is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of crazy. And then also just not to put pressure on ourselves, you know, it's kind of this project's like it is what it is, you know, it's like taking it back to the garage where it's like we didn't have any budget to do any cool stuff, so we just like as it is, they kind of in a demo form and we just like throw them out there and we love them and they super self-indulgent and like, you know, it's kind of like, well, fuck you, I don't really care if you don't like it or not. That's not what this is about,
right?
So,
absolutely. That's cool. And so you're right now, just to get everybody on page, you're in the middle of a session recording with, who are you recording with right now?
Okay, let us know who you're recording with.
Hold on. I'm busy working with Richard Patrick from Filter right now.
Oh yeah.
Right on.
We're just going through, I'm actually in his production room, which is amazing. Out in Westlake Village, in LA. It's kind of past Malibu. It was a little bit of a trek to get here. I didn't actually realize how far out he was, but totally worth it because he's amazeballs. And was just he was bringing me in to listen through to where his record is thus far, and it's incredible. And we just started working on a track together today, so I'm excited. I'm excited to have a song on a Filter record. Like, I mean, that's so mind blowing. How's this even life? You know, Amanda, freaking Filter, that's just crazy.
It's totally awesome. Morgan, what's been going on with you? I know you're probably making some music. Tell us about what you're making, what's going on.
My life is not as interesting as Esjay's at this particular moment. Clearly,
That's okay.
She's got a lot going on. Well, I mean, obviously I made the song with We Are Pigs. That was a really cool thing that we were working on for the last couple months. Right now, like most of the projects that I have are kind of like in a weird holding pattern because of sort of where we're at in the pandemic right now. But I joined Car Chaos in 2019, which is a melodic death metal band from Montreal. And so we're working on our album together. It'll be my debut with Car Chaos, but they do have a couple albums with previous singers. So we're in those like final stages. I'd say it's probably like 85% done. Just got to get the rest of the vocals all taken care of, and there should be some new music from me later on this year. And I have another project as well that I've been working on that's been finished for a number of years called Winterlust as well. And so eventually that will be released as well. And that's like it's totally different. It's like, you know, metal is sort of where my fire and my passion is, but Winterlust is a project that's kind of like, I don't know, like it's like kind of dark synth kind of stuff.
That's cool.
So it's really different. And we're just getting to the stages where we've finally, you know, the album's finished. We have artwork. And we're just kind of like trying to plan, but it's tough as well because, you know, it's still a pandemic and it's like,
right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm keeping busy, you know, you gotta just like keep keeping busy, you know, just living life, petting my cats, you know, what?
Hell yeah.
Down with the cats. Down with the cats.
How did you and Esjay kind of link up to do the collaboration with in the video of the song?
She literally just she randomly just messaged me. That was it.
Really?
Like it was like, yeah. You know, well, you can tell the story, Esjay. I'll have a sip of water here.
Let the stalker tell it.
I was watching, so Kittie just put out this incredible documentary, which is on Amazon. And so randomly one night I just came across it, started watching, and honestly, I was so inspired. And I mean, I've lived that life that the girls have lived, just in a much smaller capacity, you know. So it was very relatable, and I was very emotionally connected to it. And I was just like, I am Morgan. I just sent like a random email. I think I sent her an email, and then like the next day I didn't get anything back. So I sent like tagged her on something and DM'd her, and I was like super stalker, you know. And so
lurking everywhere.
Yeah, always lurking in the dark.
Nice.
That was it, really. Honestly, you know, she sent a message and just was like, you know, this is what I do. You know, I make music. And she was like, I'd love for you to do, you know, work on this project with me and we'll put some vocals. I think this song would work really well together with our vocals. And that was it, really. You know, I did a little research myself to make sure that, you know, she was normal, which of course she is.
that is still open to me.
Well, that's true. I mean, what is normal anyways? That's what it is here. But yeah, so I just, you know, did a little research and I was like, wow, you know, like this girl's got a really great track record. She's, you know, like an engineer, producer, songwriter, you know, front woman, writer. Like, so I was like, this is like everything. This is really, really cool. And so I wrote her back. I asked to hear the song. She sent me the demo and that was that. And we just started chatting about, you know, back and forth about how it should be done. And
with us if you want to.
I was just like, all right, let's do this.
Right on.
And that was it.
It's a killer video. I mean, I think it's a badass video. And like you say, both your guys' vocals are so on point.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
The video was a pretty strange thing because it was like obviously everybody's kind of like locked down in their own place, but like we just filmed, you know, our stuff ourselves with our phones, with our iPhones. And then Esjay put it all together. Like it worked out really well. I think the juxtaposition of like the desert, you know, Esjay in the desert and me in the snow. It's kind of neat. Like we're together apart.
That song actually came up on my phone. Like it kind of keeps track of what all the cookies and stuff like that, kind of just on my phone, and from things I looked up before with Kittie or whatever, and it keeps a storage. So when I go to like the news or whatever, that video came up. So that's how I got to know We Are Pigs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
We just got like this brand new mug.
He's just coming. Oh wow! Just coming in for some gear. say hello.
bringing in this like amazing new synth. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Gorgeous.
Oh, that's setup. Nice setup.
Right in the session. Right in the session.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come and get your handsome buttocks in here with us.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Just
What's going on, Richard?
We're just chatting
on,
about
man?
music and things.
Right on.
So yeah,
Let me plug this bad boy in.
oh yeah, go for it. So yeah, the video was really interesting because like Morgan said, we literally shot it on our iPhones. It was like, well, you know, it's like we're just doing this independently. So it's like randomly like went out to the desert, like just shot things by ourselves. And it was kind of cool because I wanted Morgan to feel like really comfortable. So I sent her like these random shots of the things that I'd been doing, like with all the grunts and the weirdness and like falling over and like, oh fuck, drop my phone or whatever. I'm like, shit's getting weird. So just feel comfortable.
Getting weird in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally works.
Oh, that's what I did.
Awesome.
I went out into the woods and got weird in the woods. You know, it's like it felt very black metal.
Yeah.
We
That's
got
cool, though.
we got 3 for the price of 1 today.
Hey, I'll take it. We'll take it.
We'll
That's
shake
right
it,
on.
baby.
What's
going
up?
on, man? What's going
We
on?
need to get you in here. I actually just
What's today's activity?
We're just interviewing, hanging
Yeah.
out, hearing your stories.
Right
Yeah.
on.
I asked when we started with Morgan. So Morgan's from the band Kittie, and I'd asked if you guys had ever played together. And she's like, "You guys haven't," but she'd seen you play. And where in Montreal? In like
Yeah, it was Montreal. It might have been like 2002, I think.
Oh, that was before I quit drinking.
Oh
Yeah, it was a great show. It was a great show.
That was
I mean-
before I quit drinking.
Yeah, maybe we would have played
Before this
some.
date, I don't remember.
I can't remember.
It says September 28, 2002. That's
Oh
when I
wow!
started.
it's a long time.
Right on, man. Right on. That's actually really
Congratulations!
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. Sobriety is
Congrats.
something to really be hold on to. Right on, man. That rocks.
Oh yeah,
Totally rocks.
And
Fuck yeah.
Short Bus was my first intro to you guys. So
cool. That's
great album. Yeah.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
Hey man,
big,
nice shot. It was
big
my
fan.
favorite. So,
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
Still, that's the one. That's the big one.
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That and take a picture. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So SJ, tell us about this collaboration. What's going on? So Richard's in with you. You guys are doing some fun stuff, doing some vocals. What are you guys creating?
So Richard and I met recently I was working on the producing the new Grey Days record, which is the project that Chester Bennington was working on just before he passed.
Okay.
So it's really a haunting project. And so it was really important to the band that anybody that was brought in was somebody that was a hero to Chester, you know. So and Chester really loved Richard and was inspired by Richard. And so Brian Virtue, who was in the project, said, well, why don't we have Richard come in and sing on one of the tracks? And I was like, oh, that would be crazy. So he came in and sang on a track called Believe Me and totally blew us all out of the water.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it's really special. And that was our first meeting. And then I was just like, hey, can we get together? Come for a sleepover. Let's like freaking let me come to you. Like, let's make music. Let's not end this now. So
she came over
yeah.
and she's in my studio and we're hanging out. We're working on stuff. There's a new filter record being made.
America.
But I want to say it was amazing to sing with Chester postpartum. You know, it was like with a ghost, but it was so amazing to hear his voice, and he was hands down just an amazing singer. So
Indeed.
I didn't even know about Grey Days until recently, and like when I started looking up stuff for SJ, and it's like you said, it's just a haunting, like, you know what I'm saying, it's just real, you know what I'm saying, you hear that again as like something new, and it's just an awesome record.
Yeah, the record, the new one they're working on right now is amazing. So Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and what a tribute. I mean, and honestly, it's a tribute. It's an honor to be part of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it was a total gift, to an unexpected way to, have some closure. He was
That's
a
good.
great kid. He was a really cool kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Big loss, very big loss.
For music, terrible loss for music. So.
Yeah.
And this is
Well, that's awesome that you guys are able to do this and be able to be part of it and being able to coordinate and get more of that vocals out there and being able to really just be part. I mean, that's just absolutely awesome to be able to leave that as a legacy. How cool is
absolutely.
that?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool because Chester keeps, like, even in such a tragic situation, he keeps breeding positivity and just like bringing people together, and just, so it kind of just keeps the positivity keeps flowing. So
yeah.
I'm grateful for that. I would never have met Richard without Chester. So
we've got Brent. It's cool. Brought us together.
Very
That's
nice.
Cool.
He's the
and making music, which is what Chester would be wanting everybody to be doing, is making music and just kicking ass, right?
He was in Stone Temple Pilots. He was in Linkin Park. He was in Great A's. He had tons of stuff going on.
Yeah.
He was
nice. And they're from Arizona too.
Oh, you guys are in Arizona, right?
I'm from Arizona.
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, a lot of great musicians come out of here. Yeah.
Originally California.
Yeah.
You left us. Why?
I was too young to have a say in that, so.
I'm like, I can guess.
Yeah, I think that's so. SJ is so cool. Like, hey, yeah, we're just hanging out, just north of Malibu. I'm just like, I know exactly what area you're talking about. My sister lived in like LA area for a long time, and man, that's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. We live up here in the equestrian world where there's just tons of horse ranches and just craziness.
And a studio.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Do you have any sound on that thing yet?
Not yet. I gotta patch it in.
You gotta patch it in.
There's a little sample here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
So SJ, as everybody's going to probably notice, that you sound, and I know where you're from, but you come from South Africa originally.
Mm-hmm.
And you were rocking it out there. What kind of got you into doing this, and then kind of being into like wanting to be a little bit more internationally known and reaching out to some amazing stars like Morgan and Richard here? What kind of got you, like, where you're in South Africa? I've seen reviews on you just raving about how great and talented you were. But kind of growing up, what kind of got you here, and maybe a little bit of your story.
I grew up very religious in the church, and I learned everything that I know in terms of music from the church. So like leading worship and stuff like that. So the bands that I kind of grew up with were like POD and Pillar and Skillet, bands like that. And then I saw the light and I came to the dark side.
Join us.
Yeah. So I played in a band in South Africa for many years. The band had a couple of #1 hits. And then I financed a tour for the band to come to the States. It failed horribly. I decided to disband the band and kind of start again in the States. And then it was honestly like going from being like one of the biggest rock stars in South Africa to playing like cover gigs at bars in San Diego. It was a very humbling experience. And somebody one day just came up to me and was like, "Have you ever considered being a songwriter?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I am a songwriter. This is so offensive." And they're like, "No, writing music for other artists." And I had no idea that artists collaborated in that way or had songwriters do that. So I got into the songwriting side and then got into production and engineering kind of out of necessity, really. I think as everybody does, you kind of get into like the engineering production side. And I worked in the pop music industry for a really long time. I had a couple of hits like with Sean Kingston and Nile Rodgers and Brandy and that kind of thing. And then pop music is not where my heart and soul lie. My heart and soul lie in the grit of metal and industrial kind of land. So I got really frustrated in the music industry, as I think most of us have. I know Morgan feels it, but yeah. So now I'm reliving my youth, I guess, with what I really want to do, and as I've got older, like my taste for music has got heavier and heavier and heavier. So I'm just like, well, fuck it, we're just gonna make like really like Bridget said earlier, like self-indulgent music, like
self-indulgent,
that's what it's
heavy,
about.
mean, yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. So that's pretty much what brought me to the States. And I don't think anywhere else in the world do you have the opportunity. Like America, as much as you love or hate it, it really is kind of the plumb line for the entertainment industry and music industry for the world, So I'm pretty tenacious and ballsy and brazen. And I was just like, I got to go and I got to be in America if I want a career in the music industry. Right. And so, and it's like, I'm not young by any means, I'm 37 now. And it's like, I feel like my career is just starting. I feel like more positive about the things that I'm doing now than I was when I was 16. So
right.
Pretty cool.
With age comes experience though. And like, you can't, I think that the industry, it's sad that they tend to put a lot of, focus and merit in the whole age thing. And it's like, oh, you hit 40, are you over the hill and all this shit? And it's like, usually when you get to this age, you're just like, just getting started. You're the most confident that you've ever been. You know exactly who you are and what you want out of life. And like now is the time, towards, because I'll be 40 next year. It's like now I feel more confident than I had ever been in my life, in my singing abilities and my writing abilities, performance, and just like in general, when you're 16 and growing up in front of, an audience, it's like, it can be very scarring, have a lot of, self-confidence issues and that sort of thing. So, like take life by the balls now, like just because, you're getting older, like it just means that you're more wise, you know what you want.
That's like you said, like, even though you were really popular in South Africa with it was Stealing Love Jones was the band, right? And even though you were popular with that, and obviously you had to leave because of issues with that, going to America, creating something just totally new, even though you had to start from the ground up again, and you really 37 is nothing. I mean, to where you're at now, you know what I'm saying? You're still crushing it. You know what I'm saying? So really, you kind of
prime right now. This is my prime.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely right.
You're crushing it. So I mean, really, 37 is nothing. I mean, you have so many more years to do. You know what I'm saying? So age, like she said, age is just nothing. It's just to people to throw at you.
It's just a construct, It's just a construct, and it shouldn't be, it shouldn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It shouldn't hold anyone back.
Like Gary said, you're seasoned.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing is that the industry has changed, and it has changed from the big record Warner Brothers, big gig, everybody signing with Warner Brothers if you wanted to be anybody. It's now very independent. You can make, just like you guys are doing, you can make records in your own house. There's software now to edit entire albums.
Right.
You don't have to, you're not forced to go into the studios of the big guys. You now can make independent records and release them on your own labels or through maybe a third party of some sort. to be able to distribute. And, you know, it's just not confined. And I think that good music is now being heard, which is why we have bands like yourselves on. Because
and like you said,
it's
just
just
creating
amazing.
a whole video on your phone, like that's you wouldn't even guess. It was made on a phone.
I gotta say, as someone who had a record contract with Warner Brothers, it was pretty awesome to have them on your side.
Oh yeah.
That $100,000 budget for your record. For your
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
Like fucking living okay, you know, making sure that you mixed in the right place, making sure the drums were in the right place, like, you know, like buying equipment, no problem. Here, go fucking buy more equipment if you need it.
Right.
The good old days.
I was like, can I get an Eventide 4000, which was a $5,000, you know. Now you can get, like, your phone can do more than this. Like, it was like
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
We're going to need a gigabyte hard drive for our computer, and they're like, a gigabyte? Are you kidding? A gigabyte? I'm like, yes, a gigabyte. Showed up. It was this big.
No way.
It was a Rackman big. It was this big. Cost $5,000 to get a gigabyte hard drive. To do
now they're just like this. Like,
now it's like now you can get a terabyte in your hand.
Yeah, a terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an interesting thing that you say. So it took you probably some time to get into that place to where you were able to sign the deal. Like and back in those days, it was a really different experience to come up.
Yeah,
like you had to get recognized, and there was just right place, right time, right people.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of handshakes behind, you showing up.
The cool thing was for Filter was that our song was the number 11th song on Demon Night soundtrack. And a DJ was asked, please play something from the soundtrack. I gotta say that I got one station to play the soundtrack. So the DJ listened to every single song, and right around 2:00 in the morning, he heard "Hey Man, Nice Shot" by Little Filter, put it on the air,
No way.
and from there it was added. 2 weeks later, it was added to 40 stations. 2 weeks after that, it was 300 stations. 2 weeks after that, and it went viral on its own. It had no promotion, nothing behind it, and they had to beg us to finish the record because they're like, we're only selling singles at this point, and you gotta finish Short Bus so that we can catch up to the fact that you're crushing it on alternative radio, which alternative radio was the biggest radio. Like it was pop radio at that time.
Right.
And so like the market shares were insane back then, and so you could spend $1 million on a record and you'd still make your money back plus plus more. And now rock is in a totally different place.
Yeah, because now you got phones and stuff like that.
That was 95.
95. When did you
95.
It was nigh on 1995.
1995.
Yeah, I was 26.
I remember that, and I was I was in college still when there's college radio days for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the anthem songs. Like I was my junior year. Absolutely. One of the best songs of that year. I remember it. And I remember thinking this group is amazing. Yeah. Coming out of a completely, like that whole, just a very different vibe than was going on at the time.
Yeah,
I was 12.
The Demon Night soundtrack too, though. Demon Night, that's a great movie.
Oh yeah, Demon Night.
They were like, can we just put it on anything? And I'm like, come on, guys, let's find a decent movie. You know what I mean? Like I was precious, about it, and now it's like. Put it on anything. I don't care.
Right, it's on a movie.
If it's in a movie score, like if it's in a movie soundtrack record, like put it on anything. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Like it's different. Like back then, there were only 5 movie theaters in your city. There were 3 radio stations, and the internet was this tiny little thing that no one gave a shit about. Yeah. And so, like if you were to make it, you were on the radio. That was it. that was how you were discovered by millions and millions of people. So
yep. The radio broke us as well. Like I remember Brackish, it started charting in I think like on K-Rock. Our album was actually supposed to be released like a number of months before, and I believe his name was Dennis from K-Rock in New York City. There started playing Brackish, and it started charting right away. And the album, we had to pull it. We had to pull it, and then make a new plan, because we had literally just pressed 5,000 copies of the album, and we were like, that was what our summer project was going to be like, and then go back to high school and fucking in September, and that was not to be. So it was a different time, all the like radio was king for sure. And
it was totally king.
Things are different now.
It's just as crazy. But it's weird because, like, the little black girl from
Willow Smith's daughter?
No, her name is like Nikki or something, and she just bashes the shit out of the drum.
Nandy, she's South African,
yeah, and she's like, she's discovered by herself as like an internet sensation. And she's only 10 years old, and she's like sitting there beating the literal shit out of drums, and plays bass and plays guitar. So that individual was discovered like by the rest of us, like somehow just naturally. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird new world of.
What has it been like? Like, I mean, you guys had like that. Both of you in your own capacity had like the big record deals, and like. You watched the industry change, and watching the Kittie documentary. I mean, it was so great to see the inside of that, but it'd be so awesome to hear like your perspectives on like watching the industry change, like going into streaming. And
oh my God, it's been crazy. The worst is really the last, the 15 years before streaming were brutal.
Yeah, I was actually going to say it was really good, and then it got really bad, and now it's starting to get good again.
Music became free, and everyone had a CD burner, so you had, like, hey, do you got that CD from blah blah blah? Sure. And like on our tour bus, there were 9 laptops. And like someone just had bought the brand new Coldplay record, and I'm like, fucking, they're rich. Fuck it, And like, my computer, the drummer's computer, the drummer's computer, the bass player's computer, the engineer's computer. You know what I mean? The bus driver's computer. That one disc went to every single computer, and everybody ripped it because that was the norm. Like, I'm like, you either you felt bad and you bought it, which is what I did for the most part. But like that one time, like, fuck it, I'll just rip it. I don't care. I just want to hear it.
That's like when Napster came out. When Napster
that's
came
exactly
popular.
LimeWire, Napster.
LimeWire, Napster.
And illegal downloading was something that was huge.
like a huge, gigantic part of my youth was now like my 30s were like, well, it's all for free, so. And no one's gonna buy it, so like
that's like you're doing it for nothing. So
completely changed the industry for a while.
Anymore, no one's gold records anymore, and no one's now it's different. Like it's about YouTube followers and Instagram and how many YouTube people do you have?
But they figured out a way to at least monetize that, so that people are able to make money off of it in a way that like. Maybe 15 or so years ago when it was, like people were just taking your art for free, And so now at least there's been some change to like monetize that. So like, for streaming, if you're an independent artist, the more people are listening, the more revenue stream is going to be coming in. And that's all the same with YouTube and like followers and views. And like are ways now that people that are creators, music included, like can make money and whatnot. So it's
almost like
it's improving a little.
It's almost like you were just wasting money. You're just making an album when.
I'm so blessed that like we get 1 million streams on Spotify every month, and like it's keeping my family fed.
That's awesome.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's like, cool.
they finally brought it back. Basically, Apple just got rid of hard drives and made it all, they made it all streaming, and that's it. And they got rid of hard drive burners and not hard drive, CD burners and CD readers and everything. They got rid of those, and now it's all just coming through a USB cable. So like it saved us. But like, there's definitely some dude out there who's like, I'm still doing it. I'm still MP3. I ain't don't pay.
Just stacking blank CDs.
He's got his Cheeto fingers all over it.
He's got the download from YouTube.
Going on now, 2 terabytes worth of music. I ain't gonna pay $15 a month for Apple Music. I ain't gonna pay. You know.
America, fuck yeah,
America.
Whoa, we're gonna get into a lot of trouble here.
So that's, but you guys are now all on to different projects, and Filter's, still doing Filter. I mean, amazing. Like 20 years, what is this? 26 years later?
6 years or something.
Yeah.
Getting old is cool.
Still kicking butt.
We're just now inking another record contract with a great little label. I'll let them do a press release, but they're a killer label from Australia.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Morgan, so you started off and you guys were like at the same space almost, where it was like middle 90s, right? Because you guys hit around mid 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, we got started in 1996, and things started to sort of pick up steam in around 99. So the tail end of the 90s there.
Yeah.
Still a 90s girl.
Metal was still out there. It was still, and that's the one thing is that I'm an 80s kid, so I still remember the Motley Crues.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm still, I still have that in my blood. That's the reason why I have the axe that I have. I still play guitar because that's what got me inspired to play music. And then you end up with this amazing thing that happens at the end of the 90s and mid 90s, which is the grunge metal kind of like changed some things up, and it became like metal again. But it was just as with some better sound, I think loud sound that was coming out from different digital ways of being able to produce it, and absolutely amazing stuff. And that's where Kittie kind of comes in, as well as Filter. To be honest with you, it
was like, I guess you could call it like we always get lumped into the new metal thing, and towards like the end of the 90s and then into the like early 2000s, it was considered new metal or whatever. But I don't know. I think, there were many bands that had much better production than we certainly did. We were not, when we got started, it was, like I had mentioned before, literally just supposed to be like a fun summer project. We signed to a small label in New York City called NG Records, and we recorded Spit with Garth Richardson, who just agreed to do it like for points, not even for money, like on the album, which was really cool. And like he'd done like a lot of great stuff. He's worked with L7 and like Rage Against the Machine, tons of stuff. So we were like, this is really cool. But we were so young that it really, the impact, it didn't register, But yeah, I guess we were a part of that wave, a part of that movement, and exactly. Yeah, he's a great dude, and like I'm sure that back then we were so fucking incredibly annoying to him because like, we were recording Spit, we were like 15, 16 years old. We recorded the album in 10 days, like after school and on weekends and stuff. And we literally just thought like, hey, this is going to be fun. We're going to we recorded it in early 99. We went out on tour that summer in like our little RV for like 2 weeks in the States, and we thought that was going to be it. And the rest is definitely history. But I think the beauty of Spit is that it kind of, in the sea of a lot of that new metal and a lot of that slick production that was really starting, like it still had a lot of raw kind of energy to it. It was naive and a little bit messy in a way, but that was really just because you know, I mean, we were young and inexperienced, and that raw emotion, that pure, you know, energy, that pure anger, is a common thread throughout that entire first album. And I think it's kind of what made it magical and set it apart from a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's got its own legacy. So I'm cool.
I love
with
it, man. Love it, love it, love it. And I'll tell you that still rocking to it. Right?
Yeah, I actually still have the CD. I still have the Spit CD that I got when I was literally 16.
Awesome.
I was like around the same age.
Cool.
And really, until recently, I didn't even realize how young you guys really were. You guys really were about the same age I was when I first started listening to Spit, along with like Slipknot and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when getting into like the whole bearded community and realizing that somebody in that community is married to one of the bassists, you know, Tanya.
Yeah.
I started going down like a rabbit Kittie rabbit hole, you know, and
kind of just listening. In on itself.
Literally, I listened to. I remember being at work and I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to every album, and I literally started from start to finish, from Spit to the last album. Awesome. And each song, I think each CD has a differences. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, even like really good differences. You can tell like the evolution of each CD, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up while you're, you know, like growing up while you're creating it's an interesting and strange thing, right? You know, like think about who you were when you were 16 years old. Think about the things that ran your life or that seemed so important to you. Or that would impact your life, and then think about 20 years later, and it's like, who are you going to be then? And if you've continued to do these things, you know, year after year, day after day, of course, there's going to be an evolution. And it just so happened that we grew up with our audience, and I think that it's a really interesting thing. Like I do have, you know, I look back at Spit, and like sometimes I'm like, wow, like it's really hard to identify with the person that I was then, because like I can remember how I felt, and I think there are still elements of that person in me, but you know, having grown up and continued to create and whatnot, I think that evolution, it just each era is like each album is like a different era in life, you know. And if you are a lifelong fan of the band, and you've listened since that day, like the first album came out, like you can grow up with us too.
Right. Awesome. And even watching like the Origins and Evolutions documentary, like I really kind of just like really deeply watched it and just saw everything just that you guys went through. You guys went through quite a bit at a young age.
It was a fucked up life, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, holy shit. They went through all that shit. Like you think of what, you know, anybody thinks of what they went through at that age. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't even touch what you guys went through. So
it was an incredible amount of expectation and you know, a lot riding on it, because it's like, you know, we might have just been like, you know, 15, 16 years old and having like a great time on tour, sort of being in the eye of that storm, but around us there was so much, and there was, you know, a lot of money involved because, you know, and politics because of the industry, and you know, of course, like fans and like constantly being on the move, touring for years on end and just never really getting enough sleep. But all of that, you know, and you're 16 years old, you know, you should still be in high school. It's a really mind-bending thing. And a lot of people do forget that we were that young. And I think, you know, the documentary does outline it and I think in a pretty good way. And that, like, if you look back to the person that you were back then, it's like, you know, are you going to be friends with the same people? Are you going to be the same person, you know, 5 years down the road and whatnot? And with the immense amount of pressure that there was on all of us to, you know, perform and all of that stuff riding on it. It's like, of course, like it's going to be tough for some people. And, you know, I think that a lot of that pressure, you know, had to do with, you know, some lineup changes and whatnot, but you know, all while we're still not even 20 years old yet. So
very cool.
What a wild life.
I get
no doubt.
You feel
no
like
doubt
you can relate to like someone like Billie Eilish, who's just, you know, with 16, 17, 18, she's now like what, 19?
Yeah.
like,
and already had so much success, and just you know, I really feel for a lot of like young teen stars, like, and like by no means could I ever compare the level of fame that we had to that type of thing, but like in having experienced a level of it, I really feel for young stars who are expected to be on all the time and are expected to be this way or that way, and just the immense amount of pressure on them.
Or Justin Bieber, just, you know, like he's just, it's just like he just had the worst childhood. You know? He's
yeah, like you can't, you don't get the opportunity to grow up, you know, in a normal way. You don't get the opportunity to, you know, experience all those formative milestones in your life, you know, and you're doing it all while you're in public. And it's like, you know, he was like, for Justin Bieber in particular, like he's from Stratford, just down the road here, you know, in Ontario, and you know, he was super young. And like, you know, you're 13 years old and you have your first big album, but then by the time you're 20, you're legit already burnt out. And it's like, people are like, wow, what happened to Justin Bieber? And it's like, well, he just spent the last like 7 or 8 years of his life on, you know, on all the time. Like, of course, you know, it's a lot to, you know, to take on physically and mentally for anyone at any age, you know, an adult, even. It can be very taxing and you know, can create a lot of issues that, you know, may have already been there, and then they're just sort of brought out because of, you know, getting all these things at all the time. And like, for somebody like that, like I get it. Like, sometimes you just want to fucking chill out on the couch and do nothing, man. You know, and like, and after all of that,
people don't see that.
Yeah,
people don't even see that. People are just like, oh my god, why is he bitching, or why is he doing that? I'm like, well, he's been, like I said, been doing this for almost 10 years already.
Yeah. It's really, unless you've like really even like a little bit been in that situation, it is hard. You know, I can see how it would be hard, and people would be critical, but I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, wow, like, you know, good for him, man. Just chill out, you know, have a family, enjoy your life. Like it's all you have, right? You know, sometimes you have to take a step back to realize what's the most important. And I think for me, that's been one, you know, lesson in my life, you know, that, you know, the music industry can be fickle. I've certainly felt that. And sometimes you just gotta, like, you know, focus on what really, really matters. And like creating music and being an artist, if that's something that's inherent in you, it's always going to be there. But like, you know, like I feel like my relationship with my sister is better now than it ever has been. And like Mercedes and I have literally been together like almost every day for the last 25 years. You know what I mean? And like, since Kittie's sort of been on the, you know, on the back burner, you know, we've actually, I think, become better friends. And is that not what's most important in life, really? You know, like those relationships, because like all of that can fall away. All of that it's temporary, but like the people in your life that you love and that you cherish and that respect you for who you really are, like that's what matters the most in life.
But your fans are going to say it's both.
What was that?
Your fans are going to say it's both.
What do you mean by that?
Because they love your music just as much as you love your sister.
That's true. That is true. I can see that for sure. And you know, and that aspect is like, you know, you are sharing that a deep part of yourself in your music, and so your fans do relate to that because they relate to that part of your life. For sure.
Well, and that's the whole reason why, you know, inspiration, creativity is the reason why, what inspires me musically to talk to people that are doing it. And what inspires you all to keep continuing? What is it that gives you that flame to keep going and just keep driving to do something better the next time? What is it keeps you going there? Esjay, I'll ask you first.
We're all like, somebody go first.
Whoever, somebody answer.
You know, to me, it's just there is no other choice. There is there's literally no other choice. If I don't have some cool piece of music that I'm working on, I literally get depressed. Like if I don't have something that I like, that like this genuinely is really cool and I'm digging it, like I literally go into like a weird depression, and like I get strange, and I have to have 3 or 4 projects. Like I do movie scores in addition to like filter.
Okay.
I do movie scores, and if I'm not like under pressure and like and have to make sure that a director's happy, or that my record isn't being like, if I don't have a mountain of work to do, I don't feel comfortable, and I don't know what to do with myself. And maybe it's because I'm ADHD, but like if I don't have, like I plot out a section at a time between noon and 5 every day. I'm balls deep in some musical thing, or else I suffer from some kind of bizarre guilty feeling of like I'm wasting time, and like you know, and what cool music am I, because people got to understand, 1 minute there's nothing, there's silence, and the next minute there's this thing that you did, that you came up with, that you're hearing for the first time, and now you get to write lyrics to it, and you get to sing it, and then you get to like play it for your friends and then see their reaction, and then all of a sudden they like it, and you can't believe that. Like you can't even believe that your friend, that you're okay with letting your friends listen to something that you did, that they could fucking tear to shreds if they hate it, if they didn't like it. And the next minute, you know, the local radio station likes it. And then, oh my God, they like it. And they're playing it at 5. They're going to play it at 5 times, you know, that rush hour. And they're going to give it a shot on Battle of the Bands. And the next thing you know, all of a sudden your town likes it. And then the next thing after that, like your state likes it. And then you're worldwide. And it's like that little chain reaction from there was nothing to all of a sudden there's something, and I got it. It's mine, and I did it. You know what I mean? And me and my buddies did it. Me and my drinking buddies did it. And we fucking got wasted and came up with this fucking crazy song that, like, you know, all of a sudden everybody likes, and now we got a record deal. And holy shit, another level, you know, like another key was unlocked, another lockbox that was cherished and never going to be able to experience ever again. All of a sudden, now I have a record deal, and you know, now there's people at the record company that like my song, and now they want to give me money to go make music, and like, who the fuck is that they like, you know, like that sense of like of like that constant a sense of accomplishment, right? But it's totally addictive. Are you kidding? It's crack. It's like fucking crack and heroin put together, and like. But that's kind of why you do it, you know. Like the next minute you're doing something, and like, you know, and then for me it's totally different. Like now it's a movie theater. Like, you know, now I'm in a movie theater. People are reacting to the movie, you know, and I'm like, and I'm paying attention to what, you know, like, are they even noticing that there's this cool drone that I spent 10 hours on? You know, that's underneath the murder. You know, but it's still it's you know, music doesn't live in a space. It is invisible. It flies through the air through you know, from speakers, from electricity from speakers, and it flies through the air and it hits you, and you have a visceral experience of hearing it, you know, and you're given 12 notes, and the same 12 notes go all the way back to Mozart. You know, John Williams, you know, had 12 notes when he created, you know, all the music for Star Wars, or Keith Richards had the same 12 notes when he came up with Satisfaction. Wow. And you know, and it's that's why music's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll show you.
Rob,
No, man, that's
everything that he just
so
said.
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That just right
You
there,
know what?
man.
I gotta say that the way that you were
Drop the
describing,
mic.
like, it's having, like starting with nothing and then creating something. It's like the creation of the universe. You know what I mean? It's like the Big
Right.
Bang, and it ripples out. And like there was nothing, but then there was everything, and you were the one that came up with it. It's a really cool visual. As you were describing that, I was like, wow, like my mind is blown.
It's a
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck you down, dude.
It's
Drop
pretty
the mic
incredible.
right there. Drop the
No,
mic right there.
it's a
Very
great
well worded.
self-indulgent and selfish thing, and I think, you know, I like to think that I'm not an incredibly selfish human, but I think it's like that's my time with me and my thoughts, and I feel that that's the only way that I can really articulate my rage or my thoughts or my, you know, whatever the feeling is through these 12 notes and through these beats and through how it's making me feel emotively. So yes to everything that Richard said, right?
Yeah,
That
it's
is
incredibly it's incredibly personal as well, but it is like a strange paradox that something that's so personal is then shared willingly and happily with the world, and you want people to react to it, and you want, you know,
Right.
people to, so in that way it is a little bit self-indulgent, but yeah, it is an incredibly personal experience.
Those first couple songs, you're like, wow, I'm gonna give up. You know, like when you write your first couple songs and they're terrible, and you're just like, you know, I'm gonna give up. But like, you just start getting through these little hurdles each day, and you know, it's hello.
We do have a question from Rob. He says, Morgan Esjay, does the writing process ever feel stale? Is it the same repetition or circle? What makes it feel fresh, and what's the most exciting part of writing?
Well, I don't know. It's difficult because, like, for me, a lot of my writing experiences in the past have been like, I guess, like the same thing all the time, and like for some people that might feel stale. But for me, I'm a creature of habit, and I think that you know, getting together with your friends at your jam space and just like knowing that you have a chemistry, that you have a certain thing that it's like unspoken, where you can just start creating together, and it's not forced, and it's so comfortable that things like just happen. To me, like that kind of writing experience, for some people it might be considered really, really stale, but I think that there's a real magic in the cohesion of a band itself, where everybody sort of has their part to play, and they know what the other person their move is going to be, and you know how they might do that change, and like it evolves the song sort of so organically. And so to me, like that writing process of just like getting together, you know, you're with all your pals the way that you always have for years and years, like to me that was a very comfortable and really kind of awesome organic experiences, because that familiarity helps to, you know, helps you to just feel more comfortable. But sometimes like being outside of your comfort zone is a very important part of growth as well, you know. And for me personally, you know, having been in Kittie and written the same way all the time for like 15 or so years, 20 years, and then being in another band now where you know, I'm like, for Car Chaos, all of the music was already written for this album when I joined the band. And so my job was to sort of be, you know, looking outside, looking in, and to try to, you know, I guess change the process and the way that I was used to doing things. But it's part of the reason why I chose to be in the band in the first place, you know, to push my boundaries, to test my limits, and get outside of my comfort zone to try to do some of the best work of my career. And sometimes you need that little shake up too. So.
Well, it's like with being in Kittie, you guys are so in sync. And like you said, with any band, you know what I'm saying, that's been together for years and years, you guys are so in sync with each other. And especially right now with joining Car Chaos, you need to, I guess, find that sync. You know what I'm saying? So you can kind of like be in sync with each other and, like you said, flow and just enjoy the space that you have together, and just enjoy the music that you're making.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an enjoyable process. It's just different than that, that homey feeling of like, for me, it's like, me and Mercedes like jamming together in the basement. Like that's to me, that's home, right? That's like, that's something that will always feel, like home to me. But sometimes you just like, you got to shake it up to do different things, to do your best work, to push your limits. So.
Very true.
Very cool. Very cool. So we got a few minutes left. And of course, this is our time where we're going to talk a little bit about food. We all talk a little bit about food. We all like food. We all got to eat food. So what we want to know is right now, so the chef has made something amazing as always. And let's see what he has made.
Well, actually, I was going to ask one more question to Morgan. You guys recently had a 20-year anniversary like reunion. How was that experience for you?
Honestly, it was fucking incredible. I literally was tearing up at some moments during that performance, and the Live at London documentary concert thing that we ended up putting out, like it just encapsulates the entire night. I honestly, after working on the documentary for like 4 years straight and like getting to that point where we finally, got to have all of our Kickstarter people come to the premiere with friends and family. And then the after party that night was this show where we were like, every era of Kittie got to perform. Tanya performed and she was like 6 months pregnant. We had to get her doctor's fucking approval and she was jumping and we're like, don't jump, Tanya, don't jump. But honestly, it was such a beautiful experience because for many years, some of the relationships that I've had with some of the people in the band were not always the best. And it was a really beautiful way to celebrate everyone's time in the band and just welcome, everybody back with open arms. Fallon, and Tanya were on stage together with us. We hadn't been on stage since like 1999 together. And, playing Spit, that opening line or like, Brackish, all that stuff. Like it just was like, I had tears in my eyes. It was like, I cannot believe that this is happening. And, it was a cathartic experience, to put all those things aside, to be able to say, like, we appreciate and love each other and all the time that we've spent in the band, no matter what has happened in the past, that we all had a part to play and we respect that about each other. And it was a really magical night. If you haven't seen Live at London,
it was really good.
At the London Music Hall, check it out.
Cool.
It's really fucking cool.
Very cool.
And Origins of Evolutions, if you haven't seen that.
Yes.
It's really good. If you want to know more about Kittie, you definitely have to watch that.
Kittie,
So
very cool.
Yeah, on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah.
It is.
That's how we met. I was like randomly watching Amazon one night and I watched this documentary and I literally just like stalked her and like DM'd her. Like we have to do a sign together, please.
Oh, cool.
Right on.
So.
Very
and also,
cool.
Morgan, being at a young age, like, how did you find out that you had like really like you could sing like that? You had the vocal capabilities of like to let out that scream, because even at a young age, I think you still threw out most guys that couldn't even do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've always been a very reluctant front person. And especially starting out in the band, it wasn't so much that I thought I was a good singer. It was that I felt like I was angry enough that I had something to say and then I just did it. And for me, so that's how I really got started. It was kind of like, we were like, who wants to be the singer? Not me, not me. And I was like, I guess I'll I guess I'll do it. But it was being driven by the emotion and by rage and by that urge to have something to say rather than knowing that I was good at screaming, because like those first demos, I was not good. And even Spit, my voice changed from Spit to Oracle with all the touring that we did. And I found my voice, and it was a lot scarier than that first album. But there is something kind of neat and magical and untrained about the way that my voice sounded for that first album.
But that's kind of the raw thing that goes along with being able to be creative and being raw in that moment, which is exactly what you guys are probably kind of what brought you to it is that there's this musical thing that was in you and some thoughts that said, hey, I gotta tell people about this.
Yeah, I need to get it out, and it's going to come out one way or another, basically. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's just what creators do. You just gotta do it.
Expression. It's all about expression, and it's exactly what Richard's saying. Is it's in you. 1 minute it's not there, the next minute it's there, and you do it to help express your thoughts. But then you're also. I hope you feel the same way. I want people that can convey. I'm conveying this idea. I want you to kind of go along this journey with me. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Absolutely,
nurturing it into existence, and then it's off into the world for others as well to feel
look
that.
At where you guys are at. I mean, this is amazing. You guys are
cool.
It's blessed. I mean, we feel blessed by just being able to be part of it, but what a blessed opportunity to be able to talk with you guys, but additionally to have something that creative in you to be able to touch so many people. I mean, the last 20 years, I can't tell you how big a Filter fan I was. I can't tell you. It's absolutely amazing. And to have Kittie on at the same, I mean, just who would have known 20 years later, something that inspires me and Esjay here.
Right.
Yeah. And Esjay, who's
it's because of
very
Esjay.
awesome stuff.
It's because of Esjay.
That's absolutely
you're
right.
magical. You're a magical being, Esjay. You are. You're magical.
Absolutely. and so that's where we're gonna get to. So
you should hear our song.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for.
Yes.
So we will have to hear it because there's a new, and we'll let the publicists do their job when it's ready. But we're very excited to be able to see this. We got to see the look inside the studio while it's happening, folks.
Right.
This stuff doesn't happen often where you're gonna see real stuff happening. We're not gonna see it, but we're gonna hear it later. But you have seen it today that this is what was going on. They were inside making sessions. This is making music 101. And we will soon be able to hear it and absolutely love it because we know that both of you guys are absolutely talented, amazing musicians. So,
someone in the comments said somebody stole his copy of Spit back in the day, and he bought a used copy at a hawk shop, and the used copy was signed by Mercedes.
Really? That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had to share that.
Oh, I love
that is so cool. That's a cool
guys, we have to start wrapping this up. So should we do the stuff?
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. So James, what do you got going on? What is your dessert of the day? What is going on?
Coffee cake, muffins.
Coffee cake, muffins.
Damn. You can't share that shit with me?
No doubt. We're all like that. We're all like that.
I'll send you over some.
And today I have a Kit Kat birthday cake style because it is my grandson's 11th birthday. So happy birthday, Van.
Happy birthday,
child.
Yeah, he has changed our life. He's my grandson, and we kind of helped raise him. He's born with Down syndrome, and I can't tell you what a blessing. So 11 years ago today, we were blessed by a little boy who's completely changed our life, and what an amazing ride it has been so far. So
happy birthday.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And I appreciate you guys coming to us, and we're going to let you get back to your session to make this music to rock us later.
Party. I apologize for crashing the party. I feel like
you're good.
No, honestly,
no,
you're good.
It was amazing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I was able to be in all of your presence today. It was awesome. So,
and I've been, like I said, I would have been, as soon as I told him that we were gonna have you guys, I've been literally stoked for like the whole week, like that we're gonna have you guys on. So
we were just like, do you believe this? Do you believe this? Yeah. And then we're like, oh, and there might be a guest. There might be this guest from like.
Didn't you know about Richard?
I just don't have any words, man. I'm such a big fan of all of you guys. I've been listening to We Are Pigs, an awesome band.
Check
awesome
out Moot.
Music coming
That's
out.
right. Everyone
Moot,
out there in internet land.
Yep.
What?
Amazing vocals. And Richard's going to be coming out with something shortly from Filter. He's in the process of making it now, as you know. And then Tanya, what do you got going on that we can talk about
Not
that's
Tanya.
coming out?
Morgan.
Tanya.
Morgan.
I was looking
Not
at Tanya
Morgan.
when I was
Morgan.
looking at her. I was
Me?
looking at Tanya's.
Like, who's
Oh no, it didn't.
Yeah, I was looking at Tanya, thinking of Tanya for a second.
I've got the new Car Chaos album in the works. It should be out hopefully by the end of this year. As soon as I get my vaccination, I'll be headed to Montreal to finish vocals on that album, and it's going to be brutal and incredible, and I cannot wait for the world to hear it.
Yeah, I can't wait that.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, Morgan. I'm looking
That's
at Tanya's.
okay.
I'm looking at Tanya's DM to make sure I got everything.
We're
covered.
laughing.
So, and again, I am going to thank Tanya. She's the one that kind of put this she helped us introduce you to all of you guys. And so we totally appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks,
Tanya.
thank you guys. And again, thank you guys for coming on in and rocking with us. This has been an absolute pleasure. I can't tell you what an amazing event this has been. And for all of you guys out there in internet land for future and right now, we totally appreciate rocking with you guys. And we will be seeing you next week with another band. We'll talk to you soon.
America.
And Canada. Don't forget Canada.
Bye, you guys. Thank you. We'll see you very soon.
Rock on.
Thank you.
Adios.